What is up, guys? It's Vern, back here again with another Supercoach video. This time we are going through my team reveal. Yes, I was just quickly jumping to my team on the side there so that I have that. Look, I did fix up my green screen as well, so I hope that looks nice and sick for everyone. No more box there, it just blends me on in. Very happy with that. I did chuck on a Zelda hat today, so hope y'all enjoy that. One Punch Man t-shirt on. These are for our boy Chappie and the Sir. You know, they always love a little bit of that anime love. But yeah, I'm super excited to get into my team, guys. Look, it hasn't really changed, I gotta be honest, too much. I've been trying to stand really strong with it. There are a few points of contention, though, that I'm definitely still considering. And honestly, it's going to be hard to tell right up until the bounce if I end up making that decision to change it or not. But I will talk through the iterations that I may potentially look at if I decide not to go with the team that I show you today. But yeah, look, first of all, to everyone, I appreciate all you tuning in for my video, liking if you have, and subscribing for your consistent injections of Supercoach content directly into your YouTube feed. I will be doing my weekly sort of wrap-up, and you will find me in further discussions on the Supercoach Hub. Now, I did miss the Supercoach Hub podcast last night. To be fair, I'd like to say Scobie sort of hit us up late Sunday, didn't really see it till midday Monday, being like, hey, can we do pod tonight? And I was just like, actually, no, I'm not available. So, like, let's say not entirely my fault. It was a bit last second to get changed, and I just wasn't available. I did hit him up being like, I'm available Tuesday, like, if you guys want to change that, but obviously they did it last night, so yeah, I know Scobie was really just trying to make sure that I wasn't there. That was the biggest thing. But yeah, look, if you are interested in the Supercoach Hub, subscribe to them, and you can find us doing our weekly discussion there. Me, my boy Joshy, Scobes, and Pleb. Look, it might be an iteration of us, but there is a chance maybe all four of us get on for once. I don't know, might be possible. And also, I will leave a description in my description their Discord link. So jump into the Discord link. Feel free to just like season talk through their team advice, whatnot. Me, Josh, and Scopes try and get on top of that. Honestly, I think I might do a bit of a team review video from the questions we've had in there, just because there has been a fair few, and I was getting to a lot when I guess was able to, but sort of didn't really have the time to sit down and just write a few paragraphs about teams, what to change up or what I like. So I just Joshy put some information there at least he was active about it, but I think I might just do a team review and grab a few teams from there and go over them, and I think that could help the community with my thoughts towards teams that maybe are similar to theirs, that, they're not similar to mine. So yeah, definitely something I'll look at maybe doing later this week. And then finally, you can also find my X in the description. Feel free to jump and follow me there. I will be posting my trades there, so off my weekly review, the discussion I do with the boys, they may change throughout the week, depending on the situation. We all know trades, you talk about them on Sunday night or Monday, and then by the time Thursday, Friday rolls around, you've made a completely different decision with the way you've gone with those. And so if you do want to follow me on Twitter, I will be updating those week to week so that you're not left in the dark. And I will post my final team on Twitter if I decide to change, I guess, the iteration that I will talk about in this video. So feel free to follow me there, guys, so that you don't get left in the dark if you do want to see what my team is doing. Now, finally, we will actually be doing one more league code. So, yeah, I will throw that out in the video later on. So I do recommend, listening through. I'm going to throw it out there. It's going to go to those that are paying attention, because I'm not just going to post it up on the screen. I will talk through it when I'm talking through my trades. And I'm going to make it a little bit more random this time. Last time I did it after, the midfielders, so it was, a little bit more structured in that sense. This time I make it a little bit more random. It might literally be in between players as I go, so you better be paying attention, so you don't get caught in the dark there if you want to join in on my final league. And for those that have already joined my first two leagues, I definitely appreciate you guys joining in, and I'm looking really forward to seeing if anyone can take me down. But also, I hope you enjoyed the little anime picture I did put in there for them. I did put a nice Hisoka one, and a Mizuno one for Tower God, Hunter x Hunter. I did like that they did release that we could do pictures for these. I found that very enjoyable, having pictures. Yeah, so I'll definitely add an anime picture there. I'm thinking maybe I'll go... oh god, I just blanked on the anime's name. Like, I literally have the picture in my head, and I just blanked on the anime's name. Man, that's gonna kill me. I'll figure that out later on, but you know what? I say later on, I'm probably going to do a bit of a cut after this, and then I'll figure it out. Because I realize I haven't even made that league, so I'm going to have to make that before I start going through it with you guys. Otherwise, I might just have to do it on the spot. But yeah, enough rambling from me. Let's get into the team and what you'll been looking forward to. And we are back, guys. So we're going to be jumping into this team. I did go and double check the anime's name because I can't believe I blanked on it, but it was a Hitman Reborn. So that's going to be the nice little image for number 3. I think it's a nice image myself. I think they're all really nice. I mean, some of my favorite animes that I did throw out there. So if you want to get a part of that league, stick around and I'll drop that code later on. But starting off in defense, look, guys, you should already know where I'm going with this. Sorry, just going to make sure I bring up my team on the side so I don't get any, stumbles as I go. I'm skipping Nick Dacos, I'm skipping Sicily, and I'm going to Tom Stewart. Look, as I said, Stewart's underpriced for what he really did last season. I don't see any reason why that's going to change. Maybe Max Holmes does play an effect on that, but I don't think it will be significant enough. I think at minimum we're paying a fair price for a guy that plays every game, and as I said, has the ability to put out spike games. And when you put a captaincy or a VC, extra points on top of that, I think there's huge value in Tom Stewart. So I feel very comfortable locking in Tom Stewart as my number 1 pick. He's got Saints in round 1. It does come down to a big question if, Sharman's net mained, if he's going to go do that forward line tagging role. But if not, then I think Stewart will absolutely feast. So pretty keen for him to do that. Number 2, look, it's going to look exactly the same because it is Dan Houston. That hasn't changed. He's got an incredible run. 6 out of his first 8 games. People are saying 7 out of 10. I think 6 out of 8 sounds better because it's 75% rather than 70%. But yeah, Port have an insane run to start the season, and I think you got to be on these guys from the start to take advantage of that. So yeah, Houston, he's definitely locked in. I think, once again, somebody that at minimum you're paying probably a fair price for him, and I think he's got upside on that. So very keen for that. I think Port are going to be very good, win a lot of games, but Houston isn't your standard, defender. He does come up and he makes the offensive plays. He pushes into the middle ground. He's a distributor. He does all those things that get high points and gets involved even when his team is winning. So he's not just going to be ignored when they, run over West Coast. Going on down, we are going to be skipping over Sheasel as well. Short, we're going past. And we're going to go straight down to Hayden Young. I think just there's meat on the bone with this pick. He's priced at 94. And he showed in the back end of last year that he has the ability to at least go 105 plus, and I think that's almost a minimum from him. Expecting a big year from him, and very keen just to put him in the side, lock him away, and have a top 6 defender for 525k. So very happy with that pick there. We will be going down and we will be going past basically everyone at this point. Nick Blakey is there for those that were interested in him. I sort of already talked a bit about Nick Blakey, that he's not my pick. Wayne Milra, I always butcher his name. I think he's honestly in for a big season, but they do have a massive Marvel run at the end of the season, so if he is doing well enough, somebody that could be targeted on the back end of the season. Not somebody that we have to start, in my opinion. You can just wait and see an upgrade later on. But we're going to stop talking about players that aren't in my team. We're going to jump on down to the guys that are. And the next one is going to be Massimo D'Ambrosio. Honestly, I think at his price, he's got a nice wing roll where he looks like he's playing a defensive wing where he's rolling into the defensive line. Now, how is he going to be affected by Weddle? Look, I don't think it's going to be significant enough. I think he's almost 65 to 70 minimum, and that's going to make you the money, as well as I think reliant on field scoring coming from a rookie. So I'm going to be pretty happy to lock him into the team. Look, someone that has had injury issues in the past, but I think comparatively to many other people that we talk about have injuries, it's not as bad, and I think he has a role that he will do really, really well. So I'm very happy to do this, and a bit controversial because I think people are picking between D'Ambrosio and Williams, but I'm going to be locking them both in. They're both in my side. I think Williams you can't go past. He showed it in that game just before, earlier in the week. He got a 73. It's even in his cycle now. We can actually see it right there, which is really sick. Really cool that they've updated that. But he's got a 73 in his cycle at his price. And as I said, I think 70 is going to be like his floor. Like that's going to be a lot lower on his scoring, and you're going to see much better scores going forward, reliable on-field scoring, and he's going to make you bank. So you need to just lock that man into your team now. Now, going down. Now, I'm going to pick players in price order, and then I will rearrange them later. I have gone past Jace Burgoyne, just because of how well this man did right here. Josh Gibkiss put out a 76, and you see it right there. Yeah, at his price, that's elite. Even if he's only getting the one good spike price rise off it. Sorry, 1 second, everyone. And I'm back. Sorry, I actually just needed to sneeze, and I just probably needed to hit the mute button, but I couldn't. I didn't have the time. I was very quickly panicking over to and I just hit stop recording. So I'll have to just merge those together a little bit later. 50% ohm, that's completely reasonable. As I mentioned, even if he's a slow burn to 300, that's fine, because this initial price jump he's going to get because of this 76 is going to be very nice, and the ball's going to live in Richmond's defense. So since it's living in their defense, he's going to have plenty of opportunities, even if he's a punch-first kind of guy. Yeah, it's less points, but it's points nevertheless. It's better than letting your direct opponent taking a mark inside 50. So very happy to, I think, lock Josh Gibkiss in. Will he be on field for me? As I said, I'll fix that all up later on, who's on and off my field. Now going down, we've got 223k guys there. It ain't Charlie Dean. It is going to be Zach Reed as one of them. And it's going to be Blake Howes for the other one. Now, you can already see it there in Blake Howes' cycle, 91. Exact same logic as Josh Gibkiss. Yes, he's a lockdown defender, but he's already got that 91 in his system. Even if he's a slow burn, he's going to have a nice spike early on, and then hopefully can get on to that 150k that we need him to make. And the thing is, both these guys are, like Gibkiss and Howes, are both round 6 buy players. So hopefully by then we might even be able to flip them out of the team, upgrade them, and move on. So that'd be really sick with those in their scoring system. Now apparently Howes actually does have the capacity to score. Obviously the 91 shows it, but you see it in his history. Obviously this is his first AFL game, but in his history, other levels, he has actually been a proficient scorer on the Supercoach front. I don't think thought he was going to be getting games, and then he's snuck on into the team and had elite scoring from the word go. And yeah, I mean, look, he is playing in the Melbourne defense where it's already very elite. They have a good setup back there, and it's probably going to be very easy for someone like him to just sort of slot into that team, follow the general, and get it done. So very happy with him. Zach Reed, I think he showed in his practice game. He's also a key defender who's got great job security, and as we saw from these key defenders, I think he has the ability to get spike games. And I think something that we do take into consideration now, I don't know how long Spoils have actually given points for, but I only feel like last year was the first year Spoils started giving points. I don't know if before that they were giving points. But I feel like scoring in Supercoach, there is more avenues to score than what there used to be. So previously, what would have been, I think, very slow picks in these defensive key defenders. No, that sounded awful. Well, these key defenders, I think, because they have the avenue to score through spoiling, which they didn't used to have back in the day, it does mean that their floor is a bit more elevated from that. Just different ways to score, which is a lot better for them because, yeah, if you're not an intercept defender, you weren't really finding ways to get points. And you see that in their Dream Team scores. Their Dream Team scores are very low comparatively because they're not getting points for stuff like spoils. So, yeah, really sick that that's, calculated in these days. Obviously, it's an important part of the game. These 1%ers actually matter, even if it doesn't show up on a stats sheet. So I love that Champion Data does that. But yeah, I'm really happy with those 3 key defenders. Now, I'm pretty sure I can substitute them, so we will just throw Zachy Reed on. That might sound... I could talk about it after the video, but we're going to talk about it now. I think just looking at the matchups, I mean, Gibkiss wouldn't be too bad into Carlton, but he might end up on a Kerno and a Mackay, and he might get a bit of a bath. Howes is going into the Dogs, and we saw what happened with Sicily into the Dogs, is even if you're playing the third tall or second tall, you end up on either Norden, Ugelhagen, Lob. It's not ideal to, I think, get involved as much as if you were on maybe a smaller or weaker, I guess, third tall for most teams. And then I think Zachary going in the Hawthorn. I don't really rate Hawthorn's forward line, so I think there's a lot of routes there for him to score, and I think he'll have the best chance to score into probably the worst team out of the 3 that they're playing. So yeah, I'm going to put Zach Reed on field because I think most upside for scoring this coming week. Now, obviously, this is just a bit of rookie roulette. It may not come to fruition, but that's at least how I'm looking at it and my logic behind Zach Reed on field. Now, we will be jumping down to my midfielders. Number one, it hasn't changed since DR put out the video about the man. It is Marcus Bontempelli. Our boy. I mean, he's so expensive, but we saw it in the practice game. He's priced at like 130. But he could very easily do 130 again. And even if he goes a little bit less than 130, like, is he going to lose too much cash that you're going to be getting him for much cheaper? Look, there's enough people talking about this that I don't need to ramble on about it, but I think you're locking in the safest captain in the game with Marcus Bontempelli. So I'm very happy to have him there on maybe some of these weeks where maybe I'm feeling a little bit unsure as to which direction I should be going, and I can just put a C on Marcus and feel very happy that I'm probably getting a 120 plus, and even if I'm not, it's definitely above the ton, and it's probably not much, in worst case scenario around 110, but you're probably getting like a 120 almost out of him. Feeling pretty comfortable that's going to happen in most situations. So yeah, Marcus Bontempelli is there. Now we will be scrolling on down, and the next one, that's correct, we are doing the double dog dare me. It is Tony Chopper Liberatore. For those that got that, I appreciate you. I see you. But yeah, Tom Liberatore, I've already talked about him in great length in my last videos. I love this guy as a pick. He was a superstar for me last season, and you're getting a discount on him. He's honestly 120. He's true average 120-ish last season, 121. You're getting a discount onto what he really did last year. He showed it in the practice game, and that's not going to change. Age isn't a factor. He's still going to be a gun, and he's going to honestly, once again, someone I think that at minimum you're kind of paying for what you're getting, but I think there's upside on him. I think there's 5 points of upside. That's what we saw last season, and I don't see any reason why that would change. I mean, maybe some people are going to say age and a bit of natural regression because of that, but Dogs kind of sucked last year as well. Like, everyone expected them to be a top 8 team, and they didn't make it. So let's assume there's natural improvement in the Dogs team. You'd assume that comes potentially from the midfield, and that might just be the difference between midfielders converting to their forwards, which allow them to convert goals, and that might just be a little bit of an increase in scoring here and there from someone that's a clearance king in Tony Liberatore. So yeah, I'm locking that man in, Tom Liberatore. And look, the next one, this is the toughest decision I have been faced with all week, because I'm not giving up either of those double dogs. I ain't giving them up. So it leaves me with, in my opinion, one more premium position available in my midfield. And I'm staring at Zachy Butters, and I'm staring at LDU, and I'm just thinking, which one do I pick? And I think at the end of the day, I've decided to go down to fixture, because Richmond looked ass on the weekend, and to know that West Coast and Richmond, the 18th and 17th placed teams in this coming season, are playing Port in week 1 and 2. Oh God, how do I possibly give that up? And that is why I'm choosing Zachy Butters. He's known for giving Richmond a bath. He loves going 130 plus on them. He's got West Coast. There's been talk about, he might play a little bit more time forward because they got Wines, they got Horn Francis, they got Drew that need to go through there. So a few more forward rotations. As I said, I'm putting Port to be one of the top 4 teams. If he's spending a little bit more time in the forward line in a team where the ball's going to live in their forward line, is that really a problem? Especially in these first few games against West Coast, against Richmond, like, everyone's like, he rolled his ankle, what if he's not 100% sort of thing? Like, okay, well, they're resting forward, and in a game where they're going to score 200 against West Coast, he's probably going to do perfectly fine. just probably what's going to happen realistically. But yeah, I mean, once again, DR's talked about this. They talked to JB, from Dr. Supercoach, who talked to Zach Butters, and he said it was nothing. We already knew it was sort of nothing. They released that straight away saying it's nothing. I think people just got a little bit giddy about it because they were like, oh, Rosie said that he did this a few weeks ago. You know what, I'm going to lock in this sensational talent that is Zach Butters, because let's be honest, going to Luke Davis-Uniacke, is there really any difference in the injury risk? Yeah, he's had a full preseason, but this man probably has much worse injury history than Zach Butters, so it's not really any safer, in my opinion, the pick. So it's really, who do you think's going to boom out of the gates harder or faster or stronger? And I think it's going to be our boy Zachy Butters. So I'm locking him on in. Now, LDU, I know I kind of got a bit cold on him after his practice game, but look, the Center Bounce boys, they were talking about, I mean, Joe was very big on being like, people get off him, I want him. Like, I love a cheeky pod. But even when they just brought it up on FanFooty and I saw the stats, I feel like when I sort of looked at the stats at the end of that practice game and saw he's 36, I sort of just scoffed and was like, disgusting, get him out of my team. And I didn't really fully take in what the breakdown of those stats were. The man had 0 frees for and had 6 frees against. Now that's going to eat into your scoring. The man had like 40% disposal efficiency on a shitty oval where it was super windy and it was very hard to distribute the ball. So that's obviously going to be affecting him. He had 10 clangers, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, he ended up on 36, but it's not like he didn't get 20 plus touches. It's just apparently he used it poorly and gave away a bunch of free kicks. You take that, you know, even if you knock down the free kicks, like 2 free kicks, you knock the clangers down to like 3 or 4 clangers, you're pushing his score much closer to like that 70 range. In a situation where, once again, it's not a great game. They're also playing St Kilda, who are notorious for not having contests, ruck contests, whereas LDU's literal bread and butter. That's what he lives for. And they had an unbelievably low amount of them. St Kilda already have the lowest in the competition at like 87 or something, and that game had like 71, so even less than normal. So, and he played like 70% game time as well. So when you take all those things into account, it's like, okay, LDU's score is actually not something you need to worry about. He's actually going to be a perfectly fine pick. This is just practice game. That really doesn't matter. So, yeah, I'm really big on actually starting your LDU as well. I'm really scared of getting left in the dust here. LDU does, I think, have Freo in the first few weeks, and last year was one of the first teams who played against them. Freo 155 last year. He did to them in round 2. Even, GWS, he did them dirty as well. That was actually 2022, but still, he's a much better player since then. Saying that, GWS are much better since then too. So, I don't know. I'm a little bit scared of looking at Freo in round 2, and he played them round 2 last year and gave him a bath, and he's got him at Marvel this time, and he had them at Optus last time. So I think he could maybe give them a bit of a bath, but at the same time, they do have Hayden Young in there, who they didn't have previously, and they do have Fife in there, who they didn't have previously, and I think Hayden Young, being that bit more of a defensive midfielder, will probably just go to LDU and try and shut him down. And I'm sort of hoping that happens, so LDU doesn't go too ballistic on me early on for not owning this man. But yeah, I've decided to pass him, and I've gone Zachy Butters there, guys. So yeah, I hope you guys also enjoyed that I did zoom in for this. I've really zoomed in on this because I wanted to make sure that if you are watching along, you can see it and I'm not super zoomed out. I know sometimes I'm pretty zoomed out on my screens, and I know even when I was at work, like, people would like look at my screen and be like, how do you read that sort of stuff? And I don't know, I have perfectly good, fine vision myself. I got 20/20, so I'm very happy, and I've lived on computers basically my whole life, so like I'm very easy to like zoom stuff out and read it perfectly fine. Where others may not be, so I'm a little bit more zoomed in today to help us follow along a bit better. But yeah, if you went LDU or Butters, I got nothing wrong with that, but I've just decided to bank in Butters for this early season run. Great home games and some really easy matchups out of the gates. So yeah, gonna start Zachy Butters. Now scrolling on down, a few people are going to be jumping on Matty Rail after that score. Look at that, 137, it's already on the system. It's there, but look, ain't doing that. Jai Newcomb, I know a few people were interested in. Took Miller, people probably going to jump on him for that 116. Not my picks, but I'm not too upset if you were to go for them. Steele, once again, not upset if you were to go that way. But we know my pick. It's going to be Nick Martin. We already know how elite this guy is. You guys have heard this once again on a million different team reviews. Look, I'm saying that like I've watched all these team reviews. I'll be honest, I haven't watched any since sort of the practice games. Sorry, not the practice, since round 0. I'm really excited to go watch them. I know Janeth put one out on DR's channel. I know Spills got his out. DR got his out. You have the Fantasy Take TV boys that got theirs out. I know Chris from Insider, Supercoach Insider got his out. I did actually watch Swizz. He did a live one, and I've watched about half of that, but I didn't manage to get back and finish it. But look, there's a bunch of stuff out, and I'm super keen to go watch it. Don't get me wrong, it's not really going to change my decisions on my team, but I'm interested to see how the other teams are falling. I think from the few videos I did see, I did watch about half of Janeth and DR's. and I did watch, as I said, about half of Swizz's. So I'll get to those a little bit later this week, but I think Nick Martin's going to be a very common pick for basically all content creators. I think we're all very high on him. 21%, I reckon a large percentage of that is us content creators and probably the influence that comes out from that. But lock Nick Martin in. He's the seagull in the back line. I don't really need to talk too much in detail about him. He is just... If you generally don't know about Nick Martin, and for some reason I'm the only guy you're watching, like, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But Nick Martin has got this elite role where he is a seagull at halfback. He's not playing accountable. Basically, the ball is balled up, and he leaves, and he's starting in the defense line, and he's leaving his forward from the word go. Basically runs off his forward and leaves him completely unaccounted for. And he just goes and acts as an extra offensive distributor that gets up behind the ball, behind the packs, gets the ball out of the pack to him, and then he's the one that's using it. He's kicking it. He's moving it on. He's also the distributor when it gets into their defense line. And look, Essendon's not a hot shot team, so it's going to be down there a little bit. Probably a fair bit. So yeah, he's gonna be absolutely elite. He's got such a prime super coach role that you almost lock him in for top 6 defenders once he gets that defensive DPP. Great, we'll jump on down to Matty Crouch here. Yeah, we all know I'm doing Matty Crouch. I've talked about it a million times. Priced at 88, he actually is averaging. It's because he only played 7 games. He's priced at 88, but he's priced at 88, but he actually did basically 98, but he has a 10% discount from last season, so it's absolutely perfect. And even in that, he did sub games and whatnot. In reality, his run home at the end of the season was a 108 average, so you're really getting like a 20-point discount on this guy's price. People are talking about how is Berry going to affect him. I've already talked about I think Berry's a trap, and I don't think he's really going to have a position in this team. I think I'm locking Crouch in, and I'm going to feel very comfortable about that. I also love Matty Crouch. His last year when he was a premium, he was in my team, and he did me pretty well as a pod, so I was pretty happy with that, man. And he's just got that soft spot in my heart. Next one going down, we are actually not doing Carl Amon. Look, Weddle hasn't been in the team. We haven't had Amon, D'Ambrosio, and Weddle all play together, and I'm wondering if Carl Amon is 105. I'm thinking maybe with all those distributors, he could be a bit closer to 100, which maybe, it could be banked for his price, but I think there's guys around this price tag that have more upside on them. So I've actually skipped past him, and we are going to be locking in Ollie Wines. Guys, I can't help it. I've already talked about that Port fixture, how goddamn good it is. And Wines, he's sitting there at an 83 average. I think that man's probably 100 plus. Almost, I think he's probably going to go 105. I'm feeling pretty confident on this. We saw it in the practice game. He is the big bull they're putting in that midfield rotation. They want him in there. He's getting the most amount of CBAs for Port. He's back to feeling his best body-wise. And I think this guy is going to be elite for us. I don't think he's a keeper at the end of the day, but I think he's going to be really good cash gen. And so I'm really happy to lock him in with that early game fixture, or we'll just wait for him to tear up West Coast and Tigers and just get huge dividends off that from the word go. So yeah, Wines is in my team, and I've talked about this in previous videos, but they have the round 12 bye. He's a perfect flip player. You get to his round 12 bye and you flip him down to Dunkley, to Errol, to Tom Green, to Walsh. You can flip him. Oh, sorry, Walsh actually has a bye a little bit later, my bad. But basically, any one of the Sydney, Brisbane, GWS players, you can flip him down to any one of those 3 teams' premiums that you didn't start on round 12, and that way you will maximize the amount of games you've played. Because he would have played all 12 till then, they would have only played 10 to that point, and then you get their full run on the way home. They'll have one more game than any other team because they've already had their 2 buys for the remainder of that run. So it's a perfect flip play for Ollie Wines. He just fits in so perfectly. So yeah, Wines is in my team. And then going down, it is Max Home. I can't believe he's 4% owned. I actually can't believe that. And I understand he's also had some injury history in the past. And you guys are probably looking at this thinking, Vern, you are deep. You are really deep into that midfield. Yeah, it's true. It's true, I am. But I think generally, all of these mid-prices could be 20 points underpriced at least. They've all got 100k at least on them. These 2, Max Home and Martin, potentially have keeper potential in the defense line. And, Matt Crouch maybe has a sneaky M8 potential, but I think you'll just be flipping him on his buy. And same with Wines. I think he's a perfect buy. I think these guys just fit in so perfectly. But yeah, Max Holmes, similar role to Nick Martin. He's playing that offensive defender role where he's moving up, not playing accountable, and he's just being really, really good. Even in his practice game, he got a 107 in like 70% game time because he got injured at the end of that game. It sucks he got a little bit injured at the end of the game, but I mean, he got 107 and not even full game time. He's going to be elite for us. I think he's also a 105 guy. Could be pushing that top 6 defender, and we're getting him for peanuts. Absolute peanuts. So yeah, Max Holmes, get in my side. I think you're going to be elite for us. Like, why would you bother with a yo? Just start a Max Holmes, dog. Like, why? Like, I think this guy has more upside, less injury risk, and they're the same price. Just straight up, why would you do that? Alright, we're going to jump on down to some rookies now in our forward line. Now, I've already talked about these guys. I'm going to quickly go past them as we see them. Riley Bonner, I wish could fit into my team, but it's just not happening because I've got too much priority on these guys, on these 4 mid prices. I love these premiums. I'm sorry, Riley, I just got to skip you. If you were a defender, you'd be slipping right in where D'Ambrosio is, but you ain't not. And then we're going to jump on down to the next one everyone's getting baited by, Jared Lyons. I'm going to put him there, and you're going to see that 106 on his price, and you're going to think, holy shit. That's a steal. It is not a steal. That is a trap. That is a straight up trap. That man is going to be used as a sub through the year. So, will he make this money? Maybe not. He honestly, I think the 106 is on the higher end. And once again, Jared Lyons is someone I love. He's a pod that I had in his last premium year that really did me dividends again. And I would love to pick Jared Lyons, but look, he's turning 32. He's not the future of Brisbane. He's really just there now while they have a few men down. Once Ashcroft's back, he's out. And people are touting Ashcroft to be back earlier than expected. So if you pick up Lyons, he's got 2 buys on top of that. You're really picking up purely for a cash play. But he's at the price where you need to play him on field, and it's not as efficient, and I'm just not for that. I think that is a trap. And then we have our boy, Sam Berry, also a trap. I think he is the cusp of the best 22. He is that 22, 23rd player, maybe even 21st player. He's on the end of that list. Adelaide have a little bit of a bad run or he doesn't perform. He is on the chopping blocks from the word go. And I just don't think it's worth that risk. Unless your name is George and you got to do it for the goddamn views because Barry is your boy. Heaney is your boy. You just got to jump on all those picks that you've hyped up over the year and have absolutely bombed you. Then feel free, jump on him, but ain't for me. So we're going down to Colby McKercher. He's got the role. I don't care what you say about him getting 55. I don't care what you say about there being 3 distributors down in that north side. He's got a premium role. The ball's going to live in north side, and all the Supercoach points are going to go to those north defenders. So he will be a recipient of that. And I think at minimum you're getting the 150k out of him, as well as reliable on-field scoring, probably 65 plus. As I said, 55 is probably his absolute lowest that you're going to get. So I feel very happy locking him in. Now, people are going to hate me for this, but I am going to have to skip on Hustwaite. Just am. I'm picking Sanders over him, and I've also got Sanders on the bench, which doesn't feel great, but it's just what I got to do. It's what I've got to do with this team. Sanders looks elite. He looks like he's the number 3 in, he didn't have too many CBAs, but he's definitely a young talent that's going to be getting games, full stop. There's no sub risk here. He is getting games, and he will get some mid-rotation, and he pushes up onto the ball from the forward line, so if he ends up with forward DPP, he's good enough that he could be pushing 400k and maybe even a sneaky F6 in a world where you burn through all your trades. Definitely a possibility. Matt Roberts, you see the 76 sitting right there, guys. He is the new Jake Lloyd, and that is no cap. That is straight up no cap. Jake Lloyd has been pushed up to a wing, and they're trying to blood this youth in Roberts and Blakey to take over that defensive line, and Roberts is going to be the new Seagull moving forward. He is getting that Jake Lloyd role, and it looks elite. But for 156k, lock him away, throw the keys away. You got him. Bank him in right now. So good. And then finally, we are just going to have Jai Clark there. I mean, he looked really good in the practice game, and he looks like he'll be a staple in that Geelong midfield. They need to blood some youth. They can't keep running these old dudes. They need to blood youth. Transition the youth in, and then, look at actually building a team for the future. So yeah, he looks elite, and he looks like he should get that role. Now we will just quickly jump down to the Rucks. Rucks are going to be so simple, guys. It's Gawn, it's Grundy, and it is Naismith. And all these guys played round 0, so you can see their scores there. Wow, look at that Ruck line score. I'm a little bit sad. I did talk about this in my reviews, but it's like so many people jumped off Grundy. I was never off Grundy. I did sort of talk about, possibilities, but I never jumped off him. He was always there. 58 for Gawn, 52 for Grundy. Yeah, you just need to lock him in, throw away the keys. I think Gawn, yeah, it's a down game, but it's going to be out of his price cycle quickly. I don't think he's really going to lose much cash, if any, and I think he's going to turn it around real quick and burn anyone that just jumped off him. So I'm very happy to be doing that. And Naismith, if he gets games, he's going to make bank. Full stop. That's all it is. Now he will be jumping down to this forward line to finish off. And this is probably going to catch everyone off guard. But I am doing a no premium forward line still. I don't care what they're saying about Dogger Jackson. I ain't getting baited into that. That ain't me. I don't care what we saw Sammy Flanders do. At the end of the day, he's got to buy. He's going to do that much damage. It's also in a game where they went downhill skiing on a Richmond team that sucks ass. They don't play Richmond every week. In fact, I'm pretty sure their opening fixture is really bloody hard. Adelaide, I think Adelaide are a good team, and they're going to be pushing top 8, so there's a chance Adelaide run over them. They got Dogs. Dogs probably going to run over them. GWS by round 4. GWS probably going to run over them. I don't think they're winning any of those 3 games. Honestly, I don't think... actually, they might go head-to-head with Adelaide. But I would say they're probably not going to win these 3 games. Like maybe when they get to their Hawthorn, they might start being able to win. Maybe West Coast. I mean, my goal is to try and get Flanders in by this West Coast game. But I ain't going to start him. I'm just going to sit back, relax, make sure it's the real deal. Heaney. Now, Heaney is a tempting one. Obviously, he put the 144 down, which was elite. They do have Collingwood, which might be a bit harder, but then they do have Essendon, Richmond, West Coast. Oh my god, that seems like another 140 on the table for 3 of those weeks. That seems nuts. Oh man. So hard to look past Isaac Heaney. And look, I'm running a 0 premium forward line, but I gotta be honest, I talked about there being considerations or iterations I may make to the team that I've been considering. Heaney is that one iteration that I am considering. I gotta be honest. That man, look at that run. Look at what he did. Look at that roll. Oh, God, it's hard to look past him. But look, we'll finish off the team, and then we'll talk about some of the iterations we're looking at. Pat Lip, as I said, I think he's actually 100k underpriced. You could start him. It would be okay, but, I mean, they do have a bye, so... Yeah, I mean, I think there's better picks than Pat Lip, but, I mean, if you love Pat Lip, 100k underpriced. It's going to be Zachy Fisher to start us off. Do we need to talk any more about it? And I'm back again for the 3rd time. I'm so sorry, guys. If you watched my last video, you know I'm on the arse end of a cold, and I'm feeling pretty good, but I'm still a little bit clogged up, so I'm so sorry about that. But Zach Fisher, do I need to talk too much about this man? He's got that elite North Melbourne distributor role. He could be F1. So lock him into your team for a steal of a price. Super easy. Super easy. Like, that's the easiest thing you're ever going to do. Easiest pick in the game, in my opinion. And then we're going to move down, and this is where, look, I just love how this team looks with all this value in the forward line, and that's why it's been so hard for me to get on board with bringing in these premium forwards, because I fell in love with the team, and sometimes you can't fall in love with a team, but other times, maybe you should just stick to it. So it's going to be James Jordan that's next. You can see it already, 81 into his price. Yeah, he did really, really bloody well. Honestly, like, what more is there to say about this man? Sorry, I need to bring up my team on the side so I don't do anything silly. But James Jordan, at the end of the day, he looked good. He's at a cheap price. He's going to get mid-rotation. I think he was burnt in this game, so I think he almost left a 90 to 100 begging. Yeah, I think he's elite. I mean, at his price, he really just needs to be going like 70, and I think that's once again the sort of floor for him. So I think he's making it 150k. I think he's reliable on-field scoring, and I'm going to feel very happy with James Jordan locked into my side. Now the next one is Harley Reid. I know he wasn't in the last video, guys, but with obviously our boy Billings getting named as a sub. Just had to cross him off the list and easily moved him down the Harley Reid. Banked 40k. Can use it elsewhere if I really need. But yeah, Harley Reid looked much better in that second game. He's a number one touted draft pick. I think West Coast sort of learned in that second game that, okay, he needs to play more midfield. He ain't a distributor from halfback. And he's going to be, I think, reliable on field scoring as well for us. So I'm very happy to lock him in. Charlie Lazaro is the next one. Now, I see a lot of people jumping on Windsor, but I just don't think Windsor has the ceiling to be picked. I think he has a pretty good floor, but I think he will be a bit of a slow burn to make that 150k. I think Lazaro, I've sort of talked about this before, but when I watched Lazaro, I was never really impressed with what he did, and yet he still put out good Supercoach scores. So I'm just saying, if you're not impressed with someone and they're still putting out good Supercoach scores, like, my understanding is the club want him best 22, so I don't think he's going to be a risk of a sub. I don't think he's a risk of missing games. He's going to play, and I think for what we've seen, he'll be good enough. Maybe that doesn't fill you with a boatload of confidence, but I think he'll be good enough. Then jumping on down. Obviously, Alex Sexton and Darcy Wilson. Sexton's got that 73 in the cycle already. Once again, just like all these defensive distributors, it's a beautiful role where he's got a very high floor and he's going to easily make us money. Could he be a keeper at the end of the season with that role? Maybe. But at absolute minimum, he's going to be great on-field scoring, make us a ton of cash, and then if we move him out later on, that's perfectly fine. Wilson, yeah, he was incredible. I think he blends into that St. Kilda game style so perfectly, and he's going to be elite. I think someone who also has quite a high floor and could be very good on-field scoring for us. So I've locked him on in. I know I talked about doing this in order, but I've actually just done it the other way around. Dempsey's on my bench at this stage. I did look at, obviously, Lowman previously, but once he got named as a sub, scratch him off the list. But I think Dempsey, I'm not too sure with Dempsey, just in the sense that he's playing a forward role for Geelong, who I don't think is going to be that good this year, but he did look elite in what he did do. I'm hoping we can lock him in as a rookie and he can just sort of chill. He's one that I'm a little bit more iffy on, but I do think we've had a few forward rookies fall away and not as much security there. Maybe I could go for, as I mentioned, a Windsor if I really want, but I'm not really happy with what I saw from Windsor on a Supercoach front, and I just don't think it's going to be a worthwhile pick. Final one going to be Cadman. 55, any cycle, cool. That's definitely good enough for someone that's priced as he is, but he has 2 easy games this week. As I said, even if he only scores 2 more 55s, maybe like 60s, maybe he earns like 50k off round 2, and then it's like, man, those were easy opponents and he still didn't even do that well. He's probably not a pick in the long term. I can just downgrade him for like 50k or sideways him. So I think he's someone that, yeah, there's a good chance I could be moving him on before round 3 even happens. After round 2 with a little bit of a price bump on him. That's at least my consideration there. You shouldn't really plan for trades, but there is also a chance he just pops off in the next 2 games, ends up with an incredible break even, and we end up holding him for a longer term than that. So yeah, look, I'm just talking about hypotheticals that could happen. But that is how the team is looking here, guys. I'm going to zoom a little bit out for us this time. Bang. We're going to hit save, and I'm going to scroll down so we can see the whole team at once. As soon as all this gets out of the way, here we go. This is how it's looking, and I think it's a very nice team. It's very hard to go away from the structure, in my opinion, and that's probably why I'm really hesitant on going towards these forward premiums, because I just love how the team looks. Now, we did talk about my one iteration that I would potentially look at. The one iteration that I am considering, and the reason is it's moving one of these midfield premiums out for a forward premium. Sorry, midfield mid prices for potentially a forward premium. And it's so hard for me to part with any of them, but I think I would have to go for Wines personally. So let's say I went Wines out, I put Wilson up, and then I can put Sanders on field, which in reality looks pretty nice. That's quite nice. Okay, he's not moving. We're just going to do it like this because it's not working. And I think Heaney goes in down here. I'm just going to quickly type Wilson. Wow, there's a lot of Wills. Okay, and that would be the one iteration that I sort of consider. if I was to consider an iteration at all. I would obviously put Sanders on field, and that also looks really good in that sense too, because we get Sanders on field, so we end up with maybe a little bit of a better rookie. But is Sanders going to be that much better than Wilson? I actually think Wilson's going to be really good, so I don't know if he will be. And then we get Heaney down there, and look, with Heaney, I wouldn't actually keep Heaney as a keeper. I would look at proactively flipping him by his bye, and when I'm flipping him at his bye, not really too sure. I think he would have to go to a Flanders. So I think if I did this, it would be a Heaney to a Flanders by Heaney's bye. That would be the decision that I make there. And that's really the only other consideration. I guess the only other thing is maybe I can't even do it, but I think I'd keep Ollie Wines and move Butters. Then I would sit here with like 200k though, and I don't really have anything I want to do with 200k. I mean, Gorn potentially goes up to an English, but then I still have like 100k sitting there after that, and I kind of like Gorn. Like, I gotta be honest, I like Gorn. I think English is going to be better long-term scoring overall, but I think Gorn has some good upside on him. And I do love Zachy Butters in the team. I do love Wines in the team too, though. It's very hard because both these teams have really good fixtures to start. I mean, let's just take a look. I guess there's 3 iterations. So iteration 1 would be, team 1 is what we saw, which is the one that I'm probably most locked into. Iteration 2 would be bringing in Heaney for Wines, and iteration 3 would be bringing in Heaney for Butters. God, that sounds weird saying. And then going up to an English. Let's just lock that in. It's about 85k, so it's not that much money left over in reality. And I think that looks really nice too. I mean, English does have West Coast round 2, so that could be disgusting. I mean, God, I'm triple dog daring myself at that point. Like, that's nuts. That doesn't look too bad either. I really don't mind that iteration either. I mean, a lot of mid prices, only 2 premiums. Going to be doing a lot of upgrading, but we do have a lot of trades to do it, so definitely something I could do. Definitely something I've got to consider here, guys. I guess they're sort of the 3 different iterations I am looking at. And God, I haven't actually put this one and looked at it on my proper screen. Every time I've done this, I've done it on my phone, and you don't really see the full team on the phone at once. And this actually looks pretty good. God damn. Why does this have to look so damn good? God, I don't mind that. I'm just scared Heaney's going to flop. Heaney is going to flop, but that's why I want to move him out by Flanders, because he gets West Coast and he gets Richmond, so he gets bottom 2 teams. I mean, that's my logic behind keeping power players. They get those bottom 2 teams. It's a hard one, and I think I'm getting baited by this Heaney score. But I think I've got to listen to what the gods are telling me, and this might seem really weird, guys. This might seem really weird. Where is he? So we're putting Gorn back in this team. We're going to put Wilson back down. He just is not moving. God damn it. Going to put Butters back in, and then we will get Wilson back in here. Cool. I think this team just screams to me, and this might seem really weird to you guys, but 64 is one of my lucky numbers. I know, that's just a weird thing to say, but there's a perfect 64k remaining in the bank, and it's screaming at me, and I'm like, that just feels like the gods are trying to tell me something, like Vern, 64k, you know that's your number, man. Like, we're screaming at you, this is the play. I believe them. And if you all are wondering why 64 is a lucky number, because Nintendo 64, and that sounds like a weird thing, but I love Nintendo 64, grew up on that bad boy, and 64 has always been a number that resonates with me because of that. And there's just a perfect 64k there. And originally when I moved Uniac to Butters and I saw that 64k, I went, it's screaming at me. It's telling me this is the team to lock on in. Don't get baited. Don't get sucked into those open round games. You've got the right team right here. And as you said, that might be a weird omen sort of there, but that's what's screaming at me. Alright, now for those that have stayed around to the end of the video, I honestly didn't plan on doing this at the end of the video. Oh god, I could just do a cheeky edit at one of those points where like I cough on Zach Fisher when I'm trying to put him in, but look, I'm going to give you that code now. I'm also just going to show you real cheekily how this looks. I don't want to throw it on the screen because I don't want people skimming through. I want people getting it when they read it, when I read it out. But it is going to be 642921. That's right, 642921. I'm just going to bring it over here to see how sick that looks. Look at that. That's beautiful, guys. We got Ahsoka, we got Massimo, we got... Oh my god, I blanked on his name again. Main character of Hitman Reborn. And let's go nice little clown one for my friends. I hope my friends enjoy that I put a clown there as the picture. I love that they add these little images, though. I'm enjoying them. And really, I think, lets me really express myself to my community. I got my anime in my footy. It's just what I do. But yeah, going back over that code one more time for those that didn't quite get it straight away, or that those have probably rewound. It is 642921. So get in on that. Now, I'm going to throw out one more cheeky code, and that might sound a bit weird, but the boys in the Supercoach Hub, they did miss it, but us on the Supercoach Hub, we did do a head-to-head league for all the Supercoach Hub viewers. But there's actually 2 spots available. Now, this is going to be versing Josh, this is going to be versing Scobes, Jai, and myself, as well as the Supercoach Hub consensus team. So I've actually got already 5 spots filled up, 15 for viewers, and there's a league code there for that. And I told them, I made sure last night to message them literally 2 minutes before to say, hey, shout out the league code because there's spots available. They didn't shout it out. There's still spots available. And I'm going to actually go put that in the Discord. So, make sure to go join the Discord down below. I'm not going to put it in just yet. I'm going to give time for people to have watched this video and jump into that. But I will probably put that out, let's say 8:30 tonight. I'm going to throw that in the Discord, in the AFL. Make sure you assign your roles when you get to the Discord. You assign yourself the AFL role. I'm going to put it out in the season chat. So jump in there, catch that code. And I hope to see you all there if you don't catch one of my, I guess, YouTube leagues. But yeah, I guess that's the team, guys. Anyway, tell me what you think of it. Tell me if you think it's garbage. Tell me if you think iteration, this team or iteration 2 with Heaney, iteration 3 with English is actually maybe a better team. Tell me which one you think's better between the 3. I know some of you put in the comments before, please release a team so that I can copy it. Well, here it is. But it's very hard with Supercoach because things really come around at the last second, and very last second changes can be made. But this is I'll be very happy if you were to be starting this team. In regards to captains, I'm going to be throwing it on Zachy Butters into West Coast. I'm going to put a VC on Stewart, but look, I don't have a VC loop, so it doesn't really matter. If for some reason one of these players that I think is elite doesn't get named because it's like, oh, they're down with illness, like the best 22 that is down with illness today, then hey, I might just use them as a loophole if I need it. But that would have to be someone who's playing later, so it'd have to be like a House or something that misses because of illness. Something random like that. And I'd just throw him on field and use him as a loophole. But even then, actually, Reed would have played, but I can loop him with Houston. That would work. Yeah, that would work. So I can definitely loophole later on if something random like that happens, but in this case we're just going to lock in Zachy Butters as the captain into West Coast. But once again, guys, I appreciate y'all so much for being here. For those that subscribe to their consistent injections of Supercoach content, and just for those that have liked the video, but even those that just stay to the end and don't do any of that, I do appreciate y'all. But anyway, that's going to be enough rambling for me today because I have really just talked, and this video is going way too damn long. And you guys are, if you stick around for the season, you're going to know that that is a bit of a trend. I can never shut the hell up when I need to. Till next time, guys, it's probably, as I said, I might do a bit of a team reviews video on the Supercoach Hub, so even more incentive to jump into that Supercoach Hub, jump into that team talk, team advice, and throw your team in there because I'll be doing some reviews later this week. But anyway, guys, till then, peace, later.